Hi, my friends. So you can see I'm sitting here amongst a lot of little plants, green things. You can see them over there on the counter. I got little chia seeds growing in another part of the church. Anyway, so what we are doing on Sunday is we're making kind of like a fairy garden to represent the Garden of Gethsemane, the garden where Jesus was crucified, and the Garden of Creation. Our story on Sunday will be tying together these themes that the book of John brings together about the garden. I will be doing the story in the music room. Stephanie will be doing the story over at the hub because she's brave and cool. Hi, Stephanie. And anybody who ever wants to do the story, please don't hesitate to tell me, and I'm happy to help write it, coach you with it, or even let you come up with your own thing. So anyway, about Easter, let's talk about what's going on. First thing is we're doing story together. You'll have cookies that will be served in your room, which you can serve whenever you think it's a good time. It's up to you. The story together will be roughly 15 minutes into the start of service. That way it gives kids an opportunity to all gather, because you know how parents are so frequently late. I'm anticipating you're going to have a little lower numbers than you normally do, just because it's spring break and an awful lot of people are going on vacation. Not lower than normal Sundays. You'll have more than a normal Sunday. You just won't have as many as we probably had in Easters in the past. Okay, so about what we're doing and what you're going to be doing in your room. The kids are going to be making resurrection gardens, but they're not actually making that in your room. What they're making in your room are the elements of it. They're going to be making the resurrection garden together with their families when they come out of your room. They'll move to the storytelling room where there will be little garden tables, I can't remember what they're called, potting tables set up in the storytelling room with all of the elements for the families to put together. So let me give you an idea of what it looks like so that you can think about that. Here's a picture. I hope you don't mind that I'm not showing you ours. I'm not going to, because I can't actually find anybody to help me get my gravel carried down here, so I'm kind of at a standstill. You'll see there's a tomb, and there's candles and stones, various flowers, and one thing that's not in this picture, I'll show you in another picture, are the three crosses. This is an example of the tomb and the three crosses. Our garden will have more different kinds of little plants in it, like this one does, and it has some really important elements in it, and so you're working on those elements. So the things that you'll be doing in your room is, for one, you're going to be forming the tomb. You'll see this is a little plaque. I'll put up my face so you can get a concept of the size on it. This is a little black condiment cup. I'll have a few of them in your room for you to put the clay in. The reason I want you to have the condiment cup is mostly for you to have an idea how much clay to use. You'll see it's not even full, because it's important for you to not overuse it or there won't be enough for all the kids. So the kids get this thing of clay, and while they're in your room, they're going to be working to form a tomb. So you're going to be talking to them about how to do that successfully, which involves rolling it. Of course, they're going to be a lot slower at this, and pushing a hole into the center to make the cave portion, and then forming until they're happy with their cave. And then you want them to work with their cave to for a couple things that they want to accomplish. They want to be sure that it's going to set flat, so make sure that they can make it flat at the bottom. And then they want to make sure that the opening on it isn't so big that a stone can't cover it. So you'll talk about those things when they make their cave. And then when they're done making the cave, you will have these little paper things for them to keep all of their things in, so that when they leave class, they have everything they need to go with their parents and construct their little resurrection gardens together. So one of the next things that they're going to do is to make these stones that will form a pathway. They'll be given little tea lights, but that's over in the potting shed room. But imagine these tea lights as actually forming a pathway instead, 3 little stones, and the stones have words on them. You'll be given this sheet in your room that has the words that the stones will need to say, so you won't have to remember. So the stones have these sad words on them. They have the word sad, they have the word unbelief, and they have the word death. I don't need to show you. You can't read it anyway. I know it's backwards. So they're sad stones, so that when they make their fairy garden, they'll have the happy stones facing up. And those stones are life, belief, and joy. And the purpose of that is when they go to do their garden together, you don't have to know this, I'm just telling you so you understand why you're doing this. When they go to do their garden together, they're going to have a devotional book that goes with it. And the devotional book is going to explain to them to turn over the stones at certain times in the story so that the story changes from a sad story to a happy story. Their resurrection gardens are actually an interactive devotion. I've seen a lot of resurrection gardens, so I wrote a devotion to go with them for the families to do together on Easter night. A big part of what you'll be doing is making sure that families understand that. It's really important for you to make sure that families understand that. Otherwise, they won't even go make their gardens, then the kids will go home sad. And secondly, they won't do it at the end of the night, which is just sad if they don't do that. It's about a 15-minute family devotional experience. So you want to make sure that you talk that through with each parent as they come to pick up their kid, that they're to, or at least make sure that they get down to the room, to the storytelling room, where they'll be making their gardens. I also want to say too, you may be wondering, if we're making one garden per family, how are we going to do that with our rooms? The way that we're going to do it is we're going to let each kid make their stones, we're going to let each kid make their crosses, and we're going to put families together after story. The families are going to come together after story, and the purpose of that is to, I'm going to group them up as families so that they understand they're only making one garden. And we'll talk through how that will happen after story. That way there won't be confusion about three brothers walking out with three crosses. The kids will all be making them, and when they make them, they will be extras for the little kids, so that our preschool and toddler families and even our infant families will also have a chance to make gardens even though their kids didn't make the elements. So that is going to be explained to the kids. So they'll be making it for their own self or for a younger child. Okay, so they made their tomb. They've written on their rocks, which you'll help them to know what the words are. I suggest that you take these words that are here for you, get them on your whiteboard so the kids can see it, make sure they understand which word goes with which word so it's on the right rock. And they're going to use permanent marker for that. So that's fairly simple enough, unless you have non-writers in first grade, which you could have, and you'll have to help them then. Okay, then it's time for their crosses. You have these little kind of thin sort of sticks that are in your room, and then you have the little crossbars, and when they make these, they're going to stain them, and then they're going to glue them together. So this is how it will work. A little worried about the staining maybe, so you'll want to put on your paint shirts for the staining process. Oh, I lost my, I had a clothespin, but I don't have it. I'll have clothespins out here with these things. The little container will be filled with a thin amount of, you'll want to do that. I don't want to pre-fill it because there's too much opportunity that they'll spill if you're not in the room and in control. You'll have a little stain in a couple of cups, and all have to have their own cup. And then they'll take the clothespin and dip the cotton ball into it until it gets stain on it. And then on this metal tray, which you'll line with foil in your room, or the kids can line it with foil, they'll stain their crosses using their Q-tip. You'll also have the little gloves for them so they don't get stain on their hands. So they'll be putting on gloves, dipping their cotton ball in, staining their crosses. After their crosses are stained, the way that they're going to be put together is with Zots. Some of you probably already know what Zots are. Almost done, so hang in there, okay? I know this is long. The Zots are like, this is going to be really hard to show this to you. Oh, they all came off on the box. That's too dang funny. All right, Zots are on the paper, and they're on a roll of paper, and they're very, very sticky. I don't know how well you can see that there's tiny sticky round dots on here. the kids are able to put their cross right onto the Zot, and it's going to come right off when they rub it on there. So now it sticks onto their cross by rubbing on there, and then they can put the cross beam this way, and it will hold together well. One of the ways you'll need to coach them is making sure that they know to put their cross beam up high. I should have actually put it higher than I did. You want it pretty high because a good amount of this is going to depress into the soil on their garden, on their resurrection gardens. So that's it. They're making crosses. They're writing on the rocks. They're forming their caves. You guys are eating cookies. You may also be adding ribbon to their resurrection books. I may do that for the older kids. I may have some of them done for the younger kids. I know it's hard for younger kids to make these bows. We'll see how I do between now and Sunday. So these books will be pre-made for them, and then they just add the ribbon to it. So that might be your fourth activity. So that's it, and I hope you have a really good Easter. Looking forward to seeing you on Easter morning. I'm happy to have you guys on the team. Love you guys. Bye.